Welcome to the podcast editing and support show. My name is Dave. Are you ready? Let's go. We're going to start the episode right now. Happy to have you here. Let's do this. Yeah, welcome back to the show. Glad to have you back. Yeah, I want to go over the next 5 weeks. We're going to be talking about using free as a way to build a business. You're like, that sounds like a terrible business. But no, it's a great idea. It's a way to build a community around what you do, get new clients, get the expertise, the referrals, the proof of concept, build your website, get references. Free is actually your secret weapon in building your business from scratch. And I prefer, this is the path I'm on for my business over at TrueMediaSolutions.ca, is I'm actually doing this in real time. So I'll share with you a few of the things I'm learning in the process and some of the things I'm thinking about for the future as well. So if you're thinking about starting a podcast editing and support business, instead of trying to land a $1,500 client every month, they're out there, yeah, but they're hard to find, and you have a lot of competition for that client. I got to tell you that. So why not be a little podcast editing ninja and create your business in a way that other people aren't thinking to do? And that's a great way to build your clientele. I'm glad you're here. My name is Dave. I live in Ontario, Canada. I host 9 different podcasts, and I also edit for clients. And I want to share my journey. I want to build in public. That's one of the things I encourage the podcasters I help, is to build in public. As an author, write in public. Like, let people see your journey. And that's what I'm doing through this show and my other podcasts, is I'm building in front of you in real time. And if we're a good fit based on what you're seeing and hearing coming from this side of the mic, then we need to talk. Thanks for being here. So let's talk about how, in this first episode of 5, around building your podcast editing and support business, why free is your secret weapon. Well, it is. Let's talk about this. When people hear the idea of doing work for people for free, there's kind of pushback on this, because they're like, you're almost devaluing what we do in podcast editing and support. And you're kind of making the business look bad, like all the other editors who are out there looking for clients. Now, the one thing I know is I serve the podcasting community that doesn't have big sponsors, that doesn't have ads in their shows. I service the majority of podcasts, and you might think that the majority of podcasts have sponsorships. They don't. The majority of podcasters are single podcasters who podcast on their days off, on weekends, and do it. And people will make fun of this. They say it's a hobby. Hobbyist podcasters are not committed. They don't make money, so they're not really legitimate. There's a lot of nasty things that people say about people who can't afford to hire people like me. And I don't like that feeling. As a podcaster myself, I can't afford any of what these other editors are charging. And I don't know how people can afford these numbers. When I go to website to look at my competition for True Media Solutions, I'm looking at people with numbers on the screen that don't make sense for what you do. And I feel like some of the editors I come across online are exaggerating the importance of what they do to justify the prices that they want to charge. And in that, I feel like you're creating your own little vacuum where people will opt out because they can't afford your exorbitant amount of money that you're asking for what you do. And what you're doing is relatively simple in comparison to the money you are wishing to charge people. Now, I'm all for people making money and creating a business and creating a lifestyle that works for you. But at the same time, I don't want to rip people off from the podcasting community or make people from the podcasting community feel like they're not welcome because they can't afford your $1,500 a month fee. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. I'm going after the podcasters who have lesser expectations of their show. They're not looking for NPR perfection for their podcast. The podcasters I work with, they're not looking for like high production values with music and all these different things that make it like almost an audiobook / something else other than a podcast. They're just looking for simple edits. Help me with the back end of my show because I don't have the tech skills to do it. What does that cost? $1,500. Well, okay, I can't afford that. And they just leave podcasting because they feel like there's nobody there that services the majority of podcasters who don't have a budget for $1,500 a month for services. Again, extravagant amounts of money being charged. Now, there is another side of this. There are businesses who, some $10,000 an episode, something stupid like that. It's just crazy amount of money they put into an episode. And those are the ones we hear about in the news, where podcasting doesn't see the return on investment for the amount of money they're putting out, and they close their podcasting team down. And everyone freaks out and says podcasting is dead. No, the big podcasts with big budgets and a team of 30 for every episode, then the person who brings the coffee to the person who brings you the coffee, that size of team is the ones that are leaving podcasting when they don't see the return on the amount of money and staff that they have in place for a single episode. It's absurd. I'm going after a totally different group of people. People like you and me who have very bare minimum amount to invest in their show, and you shouldn't feel guilty for that. You shouldn't feel like a second-class podcaster because you don't have the financial ability to play with the big podcasts. That's not fair. And I think that's why I'm going this route by offering up my services for free, building clientele in the background, getting references, getting word of mouth, having people tell other people about me because of how I service their show. It's bringing results. And the beautiful thing is, it's bringing great connections for me as an editor and support person. So that's why I'm on this kick. And for the next 5 episodes, we're going to focus in on this and kind of flesh this out a little bit more so you can see what I'm doing in real time. And I'll share some examples as well. There's a mindset shift that's happening here. Why doing work for free strategically can be the fastest way to get your clients to prove what you can do and build your confidence as well. So some key points here. The difference between working for free and being taken advantage of. Now there's something to consider. When I have the opportunity to work with a podcaster, I usually vet the podcaster in advance. I want to know if they're just here to take advantage of my time. So I ask some leading questions like, what are they investing in for their podcast right now? Well, I have Riverside, I have this, I have Podpage, I have this, and I have that, and I have this, and I have that. And when I add up the amount of money they're spending every month for all of these add-ons to their podcast, then I realize they do have money. And me helping them from a free perspective makes very little sense for me because they don't value the editing side. They love all the fancy tools and they'll dish out hundreds of dollars a month for all those things. But when they look at me, they're like, can you help me for free? And I say, cancel some of your subscriptions and then we can talk. Because that's really the problem. Is we overinvest in our podcast. We don't see a return in the money we put out for our show. And then we complain that we don't have the time to edit. So there's some trimming of the fat that can happen with just the amount of subscriptions that you've subscribed to as a podcaster that you don't need. You're not using it to the full extent. So let's walk away from some of those things. I don't want to be taken advantage of, and I don't want that to happen for you either. But working for free does open the door to work with some people that could see the benefit of what you do without the upfront costs. Free is a great intentional marketing channel to get people into your world, but it's not going to be your permanent business model. So keep that in mind. I love volunteering and helping organizations who can't afford editing, a social justice podcast, a podcast that raises money for cancer research, a podcast that sits with me in a personal way that I can be a help for is a great thing. And you could even maybe work on podcasts like that for a tax receipt for the value of your time. So if you value your time at $100 an episode, 4 episodes a month, $400 a month, over a period of a year, there's your tax receipt from a verified charitable podcast or organization that has a podcast. There they can write you off a receipt for your income tax. That's great because you're volunteering your work and they have the ability to do that. I've worked with charities in the past and a lot of things are run through receipts, donations, and when people donate time and services, there's a receipt there. So it can always come back to you in that way. And what early clients really need to see from you as a new business owner creating a podcast editing and support business is your reliability, your communication style, and the results. More than a big portfolio, they want to know what it's like to work with you. They want to know how you operate. There's a handful of free projects that you can do to kind of give people insight into what you do in your podcast. Some before and after audio samples. So here's an example. Working with a podcaster, helping her with her show, just giving her some time back in her calendar. So I'm just doing the simple edits, nothing super hard, but enough that it takes it off her plate. And I listen to her podcast, which is also a key point. If you're not listening to your client's podcast, then I don't know what to say. I listened to her show and I listened to one of her early episodes, and it was her speaking at an event in a large room with a lot of crowd murmur and background noise, and you could hardly hear her. But she released it as an episode, as is. And I said to her, I could probably fix that. So could you send me your original audio? And she did. I sent it back to her. Again, I didn't charge her anything for this. I was able to remove the background noise, make her crystal clear, and help her to repost it back to her podcast site and just update it. It's an old episode. Probably not a lot of people listening to it because it's happened a long time ago. But it cleaned it up for her and made it sound much better. Her message was clearer. And this topic she was talking about was super important. So it deserved to be heard. So that's a free thing I did over and above helping her just by listening to her show and being part of her community. That goes a long way. Some other things is the testimonials and reviews that you get back from your clients when you work for free can be the foundation for you to build out your business. Everyone is skeptical of everyone on the internet. Anybody can say anything about whatever, and we either take them at face value, or we trust them, or we're skeptical. So having testimonials and having people say, yeah, I will go to bat for you. If anybody wants to know what it's like to work with you, send them to me. I'll tell them. Getting that kind of testimonial and reference and reviews definitely helps. And you need that on your website. And then also have some case studies for your website. And also share your case studies on your podcast. Because again, remember, you as a podcast editing and support person should actually have a podcast. It doesn't have to be about podcast editing and support, but it can be about your love for flowers or cooking or your favorite TV show. You're just part of the community as a fellow podcaster. You're not just somebody in an ivory tower looking down at the meager podcasters. You're in it. You're in the mud with everyone else, so you know what it's like. So share your case studies. I just told you mine. Share your case studies on your website, in your podcast, in your email newsletters, and let people see what you do. Build in public. Also, keep this in mind. Set clear boundaries, time limited to projects that you do for free Offer limited time offers to people so you don't burn yourself out. Last thing I want for you is 100 clients. You're not getting paid for any of them and you're just done. Don't do that. Create some clear boundaries. So here's what I say to new podcasters when I'm reaching out to say, hey, I'd love to help you with your show. I tell them, hey, we'll work on 3 episodes. We'll work on 3 months of episodes. We'll work on 6 months. And then at the end of it, let's talk and see how this is going for you. Because maybe this creates space for you. And you're like, you know what? In that space, I have time to generate income in a different part of my life, which would offset the cost of hiring somebody. But I wouldn't have come across that had I not had the time and the bandwidth to pursue those other things, which could bring more money into my show. So set clear boundaries. Give yourself an out. And at the end of the 3 months or 6 months or 1 month of your free services, you have a reference, you have a relationship, you have somebody who knows that you're a good person. And at the end of it, if it doesn't work out financially, then you can part ways. And it's no harm, no foul, because you've created a relationship. And you never know. Life can change. And that podcaster that says no to you today might just be no because they don't have the resources. But 6 months from now, something happens. And they do have it. They're not going to go to that other editor. They're going to come to you first because you showed them care and you didn't ask for a penny. So here's something to consider as a action step for us as podcast editors and support people as we leverage free as our secret weapon. Define a personal free work cap that you are going to put into place, and maybe put this on your website. For example, 3 to 5 clients or 10 free episodes, and write it down. What is your cap? What's your limit? Your upper limit that you're willing to commit to for free services as a way to onboard new clients. What is it? How much work will you do for free before it comes to a point where a decision needs to be made, whether to continue or not? So it could be time-based, episode numbers, how many you do, episode length, the type of stuff, audio, video. There's a lot of different caps you can put in place. But define what your personal free work cap is and go out and leverage free as your secret weapon. Next episode in this series of 5, we're going to be talking about designing your free offer so it sells you. Hope you come back. And again, if you're interested, you want to have more conversations, I'll have a virtual coffee with you anytime and talk about your podcast editing and support business, your idea. If you're a podcaster looking for editors, I do know other editors, in addition to what I do, that could be a great service to you. So reach out. Love to help you. Podcast Editing and Support Show. Thanks for being here. More great episodes coming up. And again, next week, designing your free offer so that it sells for you here on the Podcast Editing and Support Show. My name is Dave. Take care. Thanks for listening to the Podcast Editing and Support Show. Visit us at podcasteditingandsupport.com, podcasteditingandsupport.com. We would love to help you find a great podcast editor, or if you want to hire us, we would love to work with you. Podcasteditingandsupport.com. Catch you on the next episode. Take care.